Hi, this is Elliot and Justin
Hello.
from Editors, and you are watching Muso TV.
You seem peaceful, calm, quiet, nice. And when I heard about your new album called Violence, I thought, well, what a coincidence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I am peaceful, calm, quiet,
Sometimes.
and nice.
Sometimes.
Until you see his dark side.
Yeah. I think, I don't know, it's bizarre when people always have a image of what people in bands are like in real life, and they're always so wide of the mark. It's untrue. They're very rarely ever like the persona they have on stage or in photos or albums and artwork. And I think that's probably true more so in this case on this record, because I don't think you could find any less of a violent bunch of people than
Yeah.
us.
This is a great album, by the way.
Yeah,
I have
thank
to
you.
congratulate
Thank
you because this is a really nice record, and people were wondering what you would do this time, what you would record, what it would sound like, and it's different from your previous efforts. So you are a band that always surprises people. I think it's a nice thing.
I think, we just don't like to repeat ourselves and try and push things forward musically and try and do something different every time. I think that's the kind of thing that excites us, is not treading water. So, yeah, it's good that a lot of people feel that way too.
Mm-hmm.
Because it can quite often go the other way. And, of course, we get detractors saying, oh, you should just make the back room again, or et cetera, et cetera. But we also seem to have a loyal following that are excited to see what we want to do next, and that's amazing.
Mm-hmm. How do people react? What were the first reactions?
I think on this record, very good. I think people found it hard to deal with the last record, which was quite down tempo and minimal and quite intense. But this record, there's a lot of quite up tempo, melodic stuff on there. So I think people reacted quite well to it, and you're always going to get, like Elliot said, there's always going to get people who want you to just keep doing their favourite album. But this is a pointless exercise for a band to repeat themselves, because we just get really bored.
Mm-hmm.
If you just did the same thing over and over and over again, then there wouldn't be a point to it. And as a band evolves and as people evolve, you're different people. Every record, you're a different person anyway. So you've got to do something different.
Mm-hmm. But is it like that when you record another album, that you sit down, think about it, and you say, okay, this album is gonna be like this or like that? Or is it like you're gathering in a studio or so on? And
We don't methodically think anything out. It's more just like get into a room and then it's more about what excites us as 5 people in a room together, and things start to take shape and certain songs come around. Like on this record, it was Nothingness, where that sort of locked in and there was a bit of a direction to it that had that kind of element of, I guess, the more electronic and the more band elements at the end, which I think...
We don't think that much about things to be able to plan something that grandiose out. We wouldn't be able to sit there and plan a direction change. It just happens naturally as we're just messing around in the studio until we hit on that sound and then just go for it.
After a few years of playing, when you're releasing another album, do you still feel that excitement, or is it like, okay, we're already used to it, it's just another record?
No, they're always really different, because there's always a different emotion or a different mood behind what we're making. So you kind of prepare yourself to how that's going to translate through your live shows and how people are going to receive it. We don't really care that much about how people receive things, because we're true to what we're making. So I think if you're fully into what you're doing, it doesn't matter where it lands or how it goes. It is what it is. So
Well, it's rare these days when people just do anything and check what the feedback is. People like constantly feel the urge to check the feedback and to follow it and to follow the instructions from the
Yeah.
fans or so on.
Yeah, I think it's obviously that's part of the world that we live in. Is you
Yeah.
get instant feedback back on everything, every
Metrics,
single thing
numbers,
that you
stats.
say or do. There's feedback to it. So yeah, I think
You just got to choose to not listen to it really and
Yeah.
do your own thing. Because
Is it easy?
Well, yeah, because at the end of the day, people get into your record because you got into your band because you were doing what you wanted to do, and as soon as you change that, you're not making records for yourself. You're making records for other people.
I think we're very fortunate that you've been a band for this long, and there's a confidence that comes with having made 6 albums and having a fan base that's loyal that allows you to maybe not think about those things as much, I think, which is good. I mean, I imagine being a new band coming up now would be very tough because, you know, back in the day you used to play a gig and there was 50 people there. No one really had a phone, or they didn't talk about it if you had a stinker or whatever. Whereas now I think every single thing you do from the start of your career you're in the spotlight. It's that constant thing. So I think it must be tough now. Whereas I think we luckily have that confidence where we don't have to think about it too much.
Basically, and obviously, you're not the Rolling Stones with that many years of
Yeah.
career. But on your 6th album, are there things that can still surprise you in the music business?
Audiences at shows. Well, surprises us.
Yeah, I think it's just the interaction between your band and real people. I think that doesn't really grow thin, that sort of thing where you come out, you walk out on stage and, you know, there's thousands of people there. That still amazes you, I think, every day where you're like, wow, all these people like our record. And I think it'd be sad if that disappeared and you took that for granted. So I think that's still the thing that keeps you going as well.
It's nice to know, I guess, that people like your music, and when you play a gig, it's sold out.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, and on a lot of this tour that we're on at the moment, it's strange because the band's very big in some countries and like moderately big in others, and in other countries nobody cares. So we can go from playing 18,000 people in Amsterdam to like a handful of people in Oslo who don't care, and then you can go just across from there to Denmark and play to 3,000 people. So it's really like bizarre.
I think it keeps you level-headed, doesn't it?
But it keeps you very level-headed. It's like, today, what we are today, it's supposed to be like 1,800 or something.
Yeah, maybe. I'm not sure.
You know, and that's on the smaller end of our like crowd sizes. But we know that there's an element of feedback from playing a room like this, which is instant and really visceral and intense. So, like, we played last time a couple of nights ago in Leipzig. We don't go to Leipzig very often, but
yeah, it was amazing.
It was full on. It was really cool.
And what is the most humbling thing as far as your career goes?
When you headline a festival, it's, you know, because when you grow up, you see all these bands like, I don't know, Foo Fighters and Green Day and
big bands.
Big bands. And then when you get to that level yourself, you kind of
feel like an imposter.
You feel like an imposter. You feel like, oh, what, you know. It's really odd. It's a really odd, humbling feeling, because you walk out on stage, it's some bizarre field in Belgium, and you know, the Chili Peppers went on before you, or something like that, or Depeche Mode went on before you, and you're just like, oh, this is just, something's not right with the world, you know. And it's both at the same time exhilarating and massively humbling at the same time, because you never take it for granted. You know, you soak these like experiences in, and you chalk it up as another experience along the way.
Oh, that's surprising for me, I have to admit, because I've seen you at festivals and you were great, so...
Yeah, but it is, but there's always an element of someone's going to turn the PA down and go, oh, sorry, we put the wrong band on at the wrong time. You know.
No one's going to be there.
Yeah, or you walk out and there's a space where 60,000 people should be standing, but there's like 20 people at the front.
No, it has never happened to you.
That's never
No,
happened.
it's not.
Fortunately.
That's never happened.
Fortunately.
No, but
Ain't gonna happen.
Touch wood.
it's like the nightmares you have before you take exams, you know? It's a bit like that. Like, oh. But anyway, it's really humbling and it's really cool when people, when we do these like crazy big shows.
What many people don't realize about your career is that it's just hard work, traveling and so on. Not to complain, but it's
No,
not that easy.
There is a element of what we do which kind of, if you explained it to people in what actually happens in detail, they would A, be bored and switch off, and B, be like, why are you doing that? Because you spend, I think, 90% of your time either traveling to somewhere or sat waiting to travel somewhere. And I think there's also an element, and I think this is a really serious element of it, is when you live this kind of life which is outside of the norm, it can affect your mental health in a way, you know, and you see it, I've seen it with friends, and I struggle with anxiety through the amount of travel we do, and it's a dangerous kind of line to balance on when there's nobody there to say no, there's nobody there to, like, there's no norms, there's no, like, you know, you go, if you're at home, you go to bed at a normal time, and, you know, you get up, and do all that, but there isn't any of that with what we do, and it can spin out into this like bizarre world that you never knew existed. So yeah, it's in some ways it's the most exhilarating life, and in some ways it's the most tedious life imaginable.
And what do you do to not to treat this as just work?
I don't think you can ever really treat it as work, because
It doesn't feel like a job at
it
all.
doesn't feel. I mean, you know, all the
Which
stuff.
is a good thing, I
Yeah,
guess.
all the stuff I mentioned before, it sounds quite tedious and stuff like that, but then you get up on stage and you forget everything. Or you go into the studio and you're hanging out with your mates making a record. That doesn't feel like a job. You know, or you have a day off in like Sicily or something, and you're eating at these like bizarre restaurants on the top of a hill, and you're like, this doesn't feel like a job. And then, but then again, it kind of plays with your confidence of like, someone's going to find us out at some point, and they're going to pull the plug. They're going to be like, these dudes are just like trotting around the world, just having the greatest time. You know, surely that can't be real, but it is. But I think it's the balance between the insanity of it and the normalness of it. You got to keep right.
If you were to talk to yourselves from, let's say, 10 or 15 years ago,
Yeah.
what would you tell
do it.
yourselves?
Don't do it.
Don't do it.
Don't do it, man. Don't do it. Stay at home. Pass those exams. Read those books. No, I'd say, well, if you had a chance to change anything, I'd say don't change a thing.
Yeah, I would as well. Don't change a thing.
You know,
yeah.
everything.
There's no other way.
Exactly.
Everything's pretty cool. You know, everything's good, and every time you think about a downside to what we do, there's always an equal and very much better upside to it. So it's, yeah, I'd do the same thing.
I probably would have told myself to chill out, stop worrying so much.
Yeah, stop worrying.
Everybody says that. Stop worrying.
Yeah,
I'm telling
yeah.
myself stop worrying. This
Yeah.
is literally what every musician tells me.
Yeah, don't worry.
Yeah.
Don't worry. You know,
It'll be all right.
it'll be all right. You know, yeah. It's a thing. I think being a musician is a lot of everything is kind of just like ideas in the sky, and until something becomes concrete, it's kind of like, oh, what are we doing? And there's no really much aim. But if you stick to it and you're half good at it, you get there in the end. So,
Yeah.
you know, I didn't even have a guitar when Editors rang me to come and join their band. So, if you can be the lead guitarist of Editors without actually owning a guitar, anything is possible. So.
What are the proportions when you're telling about success and a way to succeed? 90% of hard work and 10% of talent, or
10% of luck.
Okay.
90% hard work.
90%.
no talent at all?
Well, I think talent comes with the hard work.
Talent comes with hard work and time. I think there has to be an element of luck with it, but it's like in anything. wanted to do anything in life, if you just did that, like an awful lot, you will get good at it at some point in your life. And I think that's the same. I'm pretty sure you can apply that philosophy to anything in the world. If you want to be a mathematician, you have to be good at reading maths and practice. If you want to be good at languages, you have to practice. If you want to be good at football, you have to practice a lot. So it's the same with what we do. I mean,
there's obviously a part of talent that comes into that, but I think a lot of people have got a talent in a lot of things.
Yeah.
But if you don't put the work in and you just try and fall back on talent, you won't have anything.
You can't
get anywhere.
You can't assume or expect anything. You've just got to keep cracking on.
Patience.
Yeah, until it clicks into place.
Well, patience is a hard thing to
And patience is hard, especially in today's world, because everyone wants everything straight away and they don't want to put the work in.
And an overnight success.
Exactly.
Yeah, and an overnight success, and I don't know, it's like, everybody knows that overnight success never lasts. So why would you want that? I mean, you just have to look in the last 10 years. If it's an overnight success, I don't know, there's probably a handful in about 1,000 acts of overnight success that have even stayed around longer than a year. It just doesn't make any sense. It's the hare and the tortoise, that's what it is. It's exactly what it is. So.
As far as the band goes, and all that success stories, Tom mentioned that you guys joined the band in a really rough moment.
Yeah, we fixed everything for him. We made everything better.
It was a really hard time and a rough moment for the band. Luckily, that gig at a festival in Belgium was booked, so there was no other way.
They had to get us in.
you had to play. You're not the new guys anymore.
No, we've been there.
We'll always be the new guys.
I think we'll always be the new guy, but we've made as many records in this lineup than they did before now. So we stand at.
It feels nice to be at that point.
Yeah, it feels nice because then you don't feel. I think they're like unconsciously that we're not the new guys now because, I think it's kind of like a chapter 1 and a chapter 2 of the band. And at the end of chapter 1, the band fell apart, and. They could have quite easily just all walked away, done that show with us and then walked away, but they didn't. And we all hung out and we made records and now we're here, still here like 7 years later or something, so...
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Everything works, so I guess it's not a Billy Corganish story when the older members tell you, okay, you're the new guys. You have to obey.
Exactly, and I think that is a tribute to the Tom, Russ, and Ed for being so inviting and open with us and letting us be a part of this thing, and they haven't like shrouded it at all, or they were.
No, it's a very democratic, open band. I don't think it was before we joined. I think it was very much, Tom wrote songs, Chris wrote music, and that's how the kind of dynamic of the band was, but. Everybody makes music now, so we all have fun doing it too.
Yeah.
They told me you are great assets to the band, so here's the truth.
There is that.
It can't be a lie. It can't be a lie, definitely. How to remain friends when you're doing a job that is, sometimes stressful. And sometimes you have to argue. I don't believe there are bands that don't argue.
I think that you don't take things seriously. I mean, we're all adults.
We're all adults. We're all a bit older now. So those kind of like early, when you first get in a band, it's all about the energy bouncing off each other. Nowadays, 3 of us have got family, kids. It's like nobody can really be arsed with the arguments between, mates in a room because they're inconsequential and they don't really, all they do is just slow stuff down. So we're all big enough to be able to talk things through like adults. I don't think there's never been one like instance of like argue, apart from like just having to go at Russell in the night time. There's no
I don't think there's
not like a
we're not like divish people either, so I think we're all trying to make this thing work, and we're all working on the same page.
We're all on the same page.
And we respect each other's opinions, so I think you only get into problems when you don't respect someone's opinion, or you don't have that level of respect to take a comment, or and we all know when to take the other comments with a pinch of salt and not. So it's good at the moment. It's a great place to be.
It's a great place to be.
That sounds great, I have to admit. And it's not a lie.
It's not a lie.
Not a lie, not at all.
No,
I'm not lying.
No, it's like,
Me and Justin hate each other, but
yeah, apart from our obvious differences, no, it's just how it is. And, you know, when you get on something like that where everyone's on the same page and you can all hang out in the studio and make your own records, it's kind of the dream, to be honest, because it's just the input from 5 people. There's no one else working behind the scenes. It's just us all just having fun and making records.
Well, as we're talking about making records, recording albums and so on, you now have got a comparison. Making a record somewhere where no one lives, far, far away from civilization, and making a record somewhere closer to home. Closer.
Yeah, I mean, making this record, we were quite close to. We made it in Oxford, in England, and we were quite close. We were living in the centre of the city, and we just had a great time afterwards. After the studio, we'd go out, we'd eat, we'd have some beers, we'd watch some football,
yeah,
talk about the record.
it was good.
It wasn't as intense as doing it in the wilderness.
I enjoyed the wilderness experience though as well.
I did enjoy it. I mean, but I don't think you could do it time and time again.
Forever.
And you need a different kind of wilderness next time.
I want you all to myself.
Yeah, he's just greedy.
Greedy.
Yeah.
One more thing I'd like to ask you about, because these are the stories that only bands know, and fans know some of them. What are the weirdest things that have happened to you during the last few years, during gigs, for example, or during tour? Because there are some weird things that happen.
I don't know if I can say.
There's some weird things. There's some weird things that I don't want to tell anyone because it's our perspective from stage.
Yeah, and I think it would be.
And it ruins the vibe because what we see is obviously very different to what people in the audience see.
Yeah.
And you know, you get, without giving too much away, we could be in between a song, or you could be in the middle of a song and you could just accidentally catch someone's eye who's having the time of their life, and they don't know that you can see them because we've got lights on our face. They don't know that you can see so. And sometimes you catch someone and they're losing it. They're just fucking losing their mind to a song, middle of a song, and you just think, oh man, I wish I felt like that dude. You know, right now, you know, we're in the middle. It might be some really technical part or something, but you look out and you just see you might catch one person just fucking totally losing their shit, and you're like, well, this is pretty cool.
Or you can catch someone doing something that they shouldn't be doing.
Or you can catch people doing things that they shouldn't be doing. They should probably save for their hotel room after the show.
And this is something you don't want to give away.
No, we don't. Yeah, I mean, you see,
I think it's not fair to name and shame people.
But it happens.
Especially
we see
because
that.
they're probably big fans.
Yeah, we see that. We see everything.
Okay, but it's time to reveal the mystery for the fans that have been wondering for quite a long time. You can see them.
We can see them.
You can
not
see
all
them.
the time.
You notice
Not all the
details.
We can always see you.
I can't always see them because I've got fucking lights shining in my face.
Be in your best behaviour.
But yeah, always be on your best behaviour. I can see you. I'm looking at you.
But people, be aware.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I'm not busy trying to press all my pedals and learn how to
You're
play
watching.
the guitar, I'm watching.
You're watching.